In a world where most people watch movies and then forget about them, these brave heroes join forces to watch them again and then talk about them. Join them in their epic journey as they go back in time, a decade and beyond, to revisit and break down films from a vast array of genres. Do these movies hold up over time? Are they classics? Find out on Retro Movie Roundtable. Starring your hosts, Brian Fry, Chad Robinson, Dustin Melbardis, Lizzie Haynes, and Russell Guest. Coming now to headphones in your ears.
Welcome all you lords, ladies, and knights of the Retro Movie Roundtable. Welcome to the show where we watch movies and then talk about them. I am your host, Russell Guest, and joining me today are my good friends and co-host, Mr. Chad Robinson. How you doing, sir?
Hello, hello, hello.
All right, and joining us as well from Hotlanta, in summertime in Atlanta there, familiar voice, your special guest, Michelle Devorah Kahn. How you doing, Michelle?
I am sweating, but I'm good.
No, thank you. It's beautiful here today.
We've had the best June ever in Pittsburgh. It's really nice here, so to rub it in, make it feel worse. But I want to know, in honor of today's movie, what is your favorite Cary Grant performance, Michelle?
Penny Serenade. It's from 41 and it's with Irene Dunn. I've spoken to you about this before. It is kind of a sad ending, so I know that you, Russell, won't watch it, but you should.
You know what? It helps to sometimes just be braced for it. You know, occasionally, sometimes it'll happen. I always use Up as the gold standard for Chad preparing me for something truly terrible and horrific to happen. And like, I think in the early parts of that movie, there's something sad that goes down, and it's in the opening credits. But I was prepared for something way worse, like a sad ending. So I was waiting for like the old man to die at the end or something like that. And I came back and told Chad, "It's like, it's a good movie. I liked it a lot. It was sad, but like you prepared me for worse." And he's like, "It was so sad." I'm like, well, I thought the old man was going to die at the end. He goes, "Why would you think that?"
Right. No, you came back and you're like, I didn't see what was the big deal. Man, that opening montage just tears me apart.
I can deal with some sadness up front. But you know what? If you unload it on my doorstep at the very end of a movie, that can be more of a challenge for me. So,
which is what frustrates me when you're like, I went on your dealer's choice, is I have to rewrite all my dealer's choices. I'm like, nope, sad ending. And I can't even tell you, because then you'll go in thinking like it's best when you get that knife twist at the end. Nope, doesn't end happy.
Chad, how are you? Have you had much Cary Grant experience to be able to pick a favorite Cary Grant performance?
I don't have a ton, to be honest. I would love to see Bringing Up Baby. I think that's one that's on my list. What I will say is I really enjoy the film Holiday with Katharine Hepburn. So he does show up with Katharine Hepburn quite a bit. I like the screwball comedy. This is a genre I really enjoy.
Well, I am going the direction you just mentioned. Bringing Up Baby is my favorite performance coming into this one. I had seen that one coming into here, and I really enjoyed that one. I had seen a darker performance from him, like with Suspicion, as well. Like that was a different Cary Grant role from this for sure. So I got to say, I think I like the funny Cary Grant roles that I've seen so far. So I don't know. He clearly has range, and so I'll continue to branch out from here. But Michelle, what's the last movie you saw?
To be honest, it's Rio Bravo.
Did you like it?
I did. I love the song My Rifle, My Pony and Me. But I love that song. But I have issue with the fact that you had Dean Martin and Ricky Nelson right there in your cast and you didn't do more singing. There wasn't something else.
This is the exact opposite direction I went.
Oh, really?
Wait till you hear Chad's take. Wait till you hear what Chad has to say about that.
Oh, that movie.
And I'd call it a tease, but you've already listened to that one in the past by the time this has come out. So, all right. All right. Last movie I saw was Goat from, I don't think it was Disney. It was an animated movie that came out earlier this year as well. It's the Goat basketball player. It's a fine time.
Michael Jordan?
Steph Curry's in it. No, I'm just...
Okay. I just meant Michael
Oh,
Jordan is the best.
sure.
For all
Oh, I
these
see what you're
foolish
saying now.
internet
No, this is just an
takes.
actual goat, the animal, like like that kind of goat. So,
Yes, yes,
yes.
I got you. Yeah.
Anyway, he's a small player, but he has big heart. So it's one of those fun sports movies for kids, kind of animated things. So what? It's better
Airbud.
than Air Bud. I'd say it's better than Air Bud. As you might,
One day I'll get
you
that on
might.
here.
I've been surprised at
I
some of the
keep
things you
trying.
brought to our table sometimes, so I won't be surprised when that day comes. So, Chad, what is the last movie you saw?
I watched Masters of the Universe. So I have the power. Yeah, despite Jared Leto's presence, which is never a positive for me.
Oh, the new one.
Yeah, I really
Okay.
enjoyed the film. It's like if you go in expecting cinematic masterpiece, you're gonna have a really bad time. But I'd put it up there with like the Dungeons and Dragons remake that was what 2-3 years ago. It's just a lot of fun.
Okay. I hadn't circled. I've lost my nostalgia for He-Man a little bit. Like, I liked it at the time as a kid, but it's not one of those things that I've brought with me to like. I didn't ask for this remake.
I still show my daughter was familiar with He-Man through the Four Non-Blondes What's Going On old YouTube video. I'll play that every now and again. She's like, hey, it's the guy from the video. This was a thing before it was an internet meme, but yes.
By the Castle of Grayskull. Chad, what movie are we covering?
We are covering 1944's Arsenic and Old Lace.
All right, Arsenic and Old Lace stars Cary Grant, Raymond Massey, Jack Carson, Priscilla Lane, and Peter Lorre. Released in 1944, made actually earlier than that. We'll get into that. Budgeted for $1.2 million, grosses around $4.8 million domestically, according to Wikipedia. I don't have great box office data going this far back, but I can tell you the number one movie in 1944 was Going My Way. IMDb gives Arsenic and Old Lace a 7.9. The critics like it a good bit more at 86% on Rotten Tomatoes. The audience score is even higher, though, and that is a 91% from the audience. So a rare case of the audience liking it even more than the critics do, especially with an older film. This film was not given an Academy Awards consideration for the 14th or 15th or 16th annual awards because it released so much later than it was made. So it's kind of a weird disclaimer. Academy gets a little bit fuzzy about these things sometimes. So it's an International Film Music Critics Awards choice nominee for Best Archival Re-Recording of an Existing Score. That's an odd award to carry. And but one thing that it does have going for it, when the AFI did their list of top 100 laughs, this was number 30 on their top 100 comedies list. Now, Chad, you've been at odds with this comedies list, but we'll see if how you feel about that number 30 ranking.
I mean, I don't know with AFI, is it what, every year, every 5 years, 10? What is the statute here?
This came out in 2000 when they announced that. So anything in the new millennium would be off the table.
I just meant like, okay, do we have a 2020 AFI list?
We need to get them back together. I will tell you, NBC did a great job of televising a lot of these things year after year, and it was always a big deal. It was a lot of fun to watch. I guess people don't watch regular cable TV anymore. It's hard to have these big events and stuff like that now. So the AFI is way overdue to go revisit all of their lists. It would be so much fun to, see these coming out again. Maybe another entity will come up and crown themselves as the aficionado, this is where we're going to plant a flag on there. Now, I'm going to ask you, Michelle, first. Had you seen Arsenic and Old Lace before?
Yes, I saw it in the 10th grade. So I'm going to say I was 15, I guess. 15, yeah. I saw it because for my high school play that year, they were doing Arsenic and Old Lace. So before the audition, I wanted to watch the movie to see what I was auditioning for. And I did get a part, and I played Mr. Gibbs. So you know that old guy they try and kill at the beginning, and he's like, "Oh, elderberry wine." That was me. So yeah.
Nice.
So it was a lot of fun because I haven't seen it since the 10th grade. And a lot of the old lines came back to me during that scene, and I remember like all the cast, and it was a fun time. But I actually because I hadn't seen it in so long, I totally forgot about Jonathan, the brother.
That's a big part.
Yeah, so I probably because after my scene I was backstage and I was like just chilling until we had to bow, right? Because I'm like right at the beginning. But it was nice because it felt like I was watching it kind of for the first time because I forgot about Jonathan. So
Mhm.
yeah, it was a good
Yeah.
time.
All right. Well, this is great. I love it when someone has been in a theatrical performance of the movie we're covering. This isn't the first time, but it's always a treat when you're coming with that kind of perspective. Now, coming back to it now, a good bit later than when you were in 10th grade in high school. How is it changing for you, Michelle?
I'm appreciating different parts of it. Like, obviously when I was preparing for the audition, I was focusing more, first of all, on the female roles. I didn't think they were going to give me the old man, but that always ended up happening to me. I was always in the high school plays and stuff. I was always like a little old man for whatever reason. So afterwards, I embraced it, and that's the kind of stuff I focused on. But now I thought it was really clever and really funny. And then it brought me back to the fact that you never see the dead body. It's just so clever. And it's a really good representation of a play put onto film. That's what I think. Because I watch a lot of plays on film. I really enjoy them. So I thought this was excellent.
And do you think this is holding up? 1944 is a long time ago. I mean, we're not quite to 100 years ago yet, but I mean, it's going that direction. And I'm going to ask you, is this something that you feel like if you showed to a modern day audience, is this one holding up for you?
I do. I think that the key here, it's just like a play, even. You need to see it with a bunch of people around you because somebody laughing over there, it's going to trigger your laughter. This is the way, I've said this before, this is the way that these films were meant to be viewed, not on your phone alone or on your computer. And I think that, when I watch movies like even Borat, I think that was really funny. I loved Borat. I didn't laugh as hard as I did in the theater with everybody around me, like just like on the floor rolling around,
Yeah.
right? I see it now and I chuckle, but it's not the same as that communal experience. And we're all laughing together. And then, and somebody might even find it even funnier. And then the laugh gets extended. I think so, but I think in the right setting.
I think comedy benefits more from watching in a big room of people or together than any other genre out there. Like, I think a horror movie can really get you if you're watching it alone. In fact, like you can feel isolated and more scared, but like I think if you're in a room full of people laughing, it can like raise that level of a hard laugh can go from being like a chuckle on your own. I think Fries comes in and sometimes he's like, I didn't laugh once in that movie. I'm like, well, did you watch it alone? I mean, that's there's a different level there for I think how hard one will laugh if you're around other people laughing. It can become infectious. Unless you're that one time where we showed Chad Talladega Nights and some of us were really enjoying it. And then I think Godfather of the show, the Godfather, John looks over to Chad and he goes, "You're not enjoying this, are you?" And Chad just goes, no, I'm not. And you're just like, oh, it kills me when you put something in, you're hoping for a home run and you strike out. So that can happen sometimes. So Chad, I'm gonna turn this to you though. Had you seen Arsenic and Old Lace before?
I hadn't seen the movie. I kind of want to go back to your comment from earlier. Michelle is being very nice and gracious because Russell's like, you're a long time removed from your 10th grade performance. What a dangerous thing to say.
She doesn't look like she's in 11th grade. I don't. That's a fair comment. It was a long time ago since I was in 10th grade. That's a safe comment. We're millennials. It's okay.
No, oh, he's digging his grave on her birthday. Like, she has been so gracious. She's very kind, and you're lucky you are still alive. But yeah, I am also a former old man in plays. I was Benvolio in Taming of the Shrew, who really has no point other than getting his cheeks pinched and talked about how rosy his cheeks are and just being shamed and embarrassed. So I have not seen the movie version of Arsenic and Old Lace. I am familiar with the play. I'd seen the play probably around high school. right about that time. Uh, so this was a first for me. As far as your question, I think I enjoy the play more. I think it's a little tighter than the movie. It's also, as Michelle said, I'm in an audience where people are cracking up, and it was a lot more enjoyable. I wish I'd had time to watch this with my wife. I think she would have gotten a kick out of it. I kind of question. At first, it was like, oh, this is a movie I could watch with my daughter as well. She would find some funny tones for it. But it got kind of dark. And I don't know if her humor is going to appreciate that at this point. Like, this is a darker movie and a darker subject matter. I know we're going to talk about that a little bit later. But definitely holds up, though. It's still a whole lot of fun.
All right. And did you get what you were expecting coming into the movie? Like, really, if your first experiences play, what was it like coming into the film? Did you remember it well, or were you being like, I don't really remember how these pieces go together, and you're rediscovering it?
I remembered it pretty well as far as the old ladies and the comedy there. I'd forgotten all about the police officers trying to get his play published. Like O'Hara just talking about, oh, wait until you've seen the second act. And just, I'd forgotten some of those story beats. I'd kind of forgotten that this is a very meta type play. They break the fourth wall quite a bit during one scene. I found that fascinating for the 1940s. But yeah, I mean, you remember the basic concept of two sweet old like cookie baking ants are killing old men.
Well, for me, this was a first time. I hadn't even I must have read it on the list of AFI list, and it's been like, I'm going to see all of these eventually someday. But for whatever reason, the name Arsenic and Old Lace never hopped off the page at me. I never pursued this one and dug into it real hard, and nobody had recommended it to me either until Michelle came up and said, you should watch this. So Chad, you say you've recommended this to me in the past?
No, I picked it, and you were just like, "Are you sure?" I was like, "Yes, yes, I am sure."
Okay. Well, we got a short list, and Chad did go to bat for this one pretty hard. But Michelle put it on the short list for us. So between the two of you guiding me to this one, you both are starting to know me well at this point. So this is absolutely my wheelhouse. I'm not gonna lie, I love this movie. I got done with this one, and I was like, I wanted to, it's like ask my dad, had you seen this movie? Have you seen the play? Like I would love to see this one in play format. I would eagerly seek that out and go check that out and play format. I was a big fan of it. I got lucky. I purchased it. Apple had it for this $3.99 deal to buy it for the same amount it was renting for. So I can watch it anytime I want to now. Might be worth committing to a hard copy at some point though. If there's room on my bookshelves. I don't want to. I can't go to the extreme of Dan Cook though and load up my whole house and go into a shed too. So, but I was really surprised. I didn't expect to laugh so hard. I didn't know what I was getting into. I read that in the description we have a guy who's writes "Don't get married. Women are nothing but trouble" kind of books, and he gets married. I'll be honest with you. I thought that was going to be the spine of this movie in reading the IMDb description. I knew there was going to be some murder in there, but I thought we were getting for like a romantic comedy kind of thing, sort of. And because I sometimes don't go digging too much, and I'm spoiler adverse, I got into this, and about 5 minutes into the movie, or even 7 minutes into the movie, I'm just going like, oh, this is going in a different direction than I thought we were in for. And that was a highly rewarding experience as well. I'm just like, oh, what have I stumbled into? And I really was happy with that. So sometimes when the movie throws you for a curve like that, or you don't do too much digging or ruin it for yourself, it can lead to a really rewarding moment. So this is one of those times where I'm glad I didn't learn too much about it. But this is a movie you're going to want to have seen before we continue talking about it. There will be spoilers that lie ahead. So check out this movie if you haven't seen it. I highly recommend it. We will be back after these messages.
Welcome to the All 80s Movies Podcast.
I'm Bill.
And I'm Jason. And this is the podcast where we talk about the blockbusters, the flops, and everything in between from one of the freshest decades for movies, the 1980s. So whether you're a brain, a jock, a valley girl, or a Jedi, we've got some 80s classics for you.
Do these movies stand the test of time? Are we discovering something new? Is there an 80s movie we're finally watching for the first time?
Join us each week as we dive into the cinematic nostalgia that inspired and influenced a generation. From the hits to the cult classics, we'll discuss our earliest memories, favorite scenes, fun facts, and our not-so-favorite movie moments too.
It's the All 80s Movies Podcast, now available on all major streaming platforms. Please subscribe and happy listening.
All right, we are back. And Chad, for those who haven't seen Arsenic and Old Lace, will you refresh our memories?
Oh, I was hoping you'd say since
I can do that.
1944.
I can do that again.
We're octogenarians. No, you don't get a do-over.
I do get a do-over.
do-overs.
Michelle's editing this one, so and I also didn't give the last spoiler. I didn't give the last spoiler warning either, so I missed that little bit there too. So take two. All right, we're back, and this is your final warning. There will be spoilers that lie ahead. Now, Chad, for those who haven't seen Arsenic and Old Lace since 1944, do you want to refresh people's memories?
Yes, our octogenarian audience needs their memories refreshed. So, Arsenic and Old Lace is the story of Mortimer Brewster, a man who wrote the book on bachelorhood. Well, he found his Achilles heel in a beautiful woman named Elaine and marries her. It's a great start to his day, but the day ends with discovering that his sweet cookie-baking aunts are running a quiet little side hustle as serial killers. And when I say sweet, I mean like these ladies kind of look like they knit sweaters for squirrels, something like that. And they've been helping lonely old men find peace, air quotes, by serving them elderberry wine with a bonus cocktail of arsenic. But at least they sing hymns and give them a service. It's actually kind of wholesome. So Mortimer discovers this secret by finding a dead body in the window seat. And that is the body of Mr. Hoskins. This isn't the only chaos in the house, however, as insane Teddy believes he's Theodore Roosevelt, charging up the stairs and constantly playing the bugle at inappropriate hours, which is the worst crime of this movie. Then Mortimer's brother, Jonathan, shows up. He's a full-blown murderer with a face that seems familiar, maybe with a heart several sizes too small. Jonathan, along with the drunk Dr. Einstein, learn of the lady's secret and vow to outdo their body count of 12 by killing Mortimer. Mortimer manages to escape despite the police ineptitude. Teddy is institutionalized along with his aunts, and this is weirdly a good thing. That's a happy ending. And Jonathan accidentally confesses to being a wanted murderer. Mortimer is given one last message that he's not actually a Brewster, but a son of a sea cook, and so the family insanity won't likely be passed down to him. He rejoices with his new wife yelling, "Charge!" across the cemetery while continuing to ignore the cabbie he never paid.
All right. So, Michelle, this is one that I think you mentioned was written for the stage. And I would say, do you feel like a movie like this, particularly a non-musical performance in conversion to a movie, what's special about that? Like you said you'd like this kind of thing. Tell us how you kind of know it's a play. Obviously you saw the play and you were in the play, but talk about what that is like.
You know, it's all set kind of in one room for the most part. You don't see the body. It's all implied. It shows like it was like you were watching a stage production. It's almost like if we were putting it on at my school and somebody just filmed us doing it type of thing. So that's how it read to me, but that's why I liked it so much. I just like, although I am a movie person, I love to watch plays. So
This is our second play together too with 1776. We had the Broadway musical.
no. No. You're going alone.
Chad, is this better than that?
Yes, it is. It's a different type. I would compare it more to, a less musical version of Funny Thing Happened on the Way to the Forum. Like, it has that speed of joke and wit and playing off of expectations. But yeah, you can tell that it's originating from the stage, a lot like 12 Angry Men. You pretty much have that one room where they're sequestered to, and the tension is coming from the dialogue, tension is coming from the individual players. I really enjoy when we get these types of episodes. Usually, if something is making it from the stage onto the big screen, I really enjoy it. So I was looking forward to this movie quite a bit.
I was looking forward to this one. I was worried that Chad was going to see this one and want to turn it into a scary movie because it starts on Halloween, and there's murder involved. I mean, this is actually, I guess, it has roots in Amy Archer Gilligan, American's most prolific female serial killer of the era, was cited as the inspiration of the story. She was charged with poisoning deaths of her 2 husbands and convicted of 5 more confirmed murders. Well, some speculate that she killed up to 66 elderly inmates in her nursing home. Her weapon of choice was arsenic or strychnine. So, she ran a nursing home, not quite like this, in Windsor, Connecticut. And again, only 12 residents had died in between 1907 and 1910, but 48 residents died between 1911 and 1916. So there's a strange uptick in deaths there. And one of the men who died there, Franklin Andrews, had apparently been a pretty healthy man, and his siblings said that there was a debate from Amy Archer Gilligan that that he needed money, or there was a dispute over a large sum of money, and shortly after getting it, then dying. And this was a pattern that had been there, and so that they, the siblings that is, were able to track down others who had this story, and it led to a big court case. And she was declared temporarily insane and transferred to a Connecticut hospital for the insane in Middleton, and she remained there for many years until her death later in 1962. But there's a dark story behind here. I read this, and I'm sitting there going like, Chad's changed one thing is going to be make this a horror movie.
I mean, kind of getting declared insane. I'm sure mental hospital in the 20s was not a fun time, but that's getting off pretty light if you potentially have killed 60 plus people.
I think that's a interesting, like 5 or 66. I think that's a funny, like, alleged, like, they got her put away on 5, but then it's like could be as many as 66.
At a certain point, it should become redundant. It's like, okay, anything over 5, yeah, life sentence.
Yeah, maybe so. And that's, like I said, the maybe, don't forget the 2 husbands in there too, by the way.
They may have had it coming. This may be a Chicago scenario.
Well, anyway, as you mentioned, Michelle, we have 2 shockingly sweet old ladies, but also with a really dark, bad habit, as they call it at one point.
It's getting to be a bad habit. It's not there yet.
At one point here, they're kind of this movie is not going to be this kind of movie until they come into it. And once they're there, the fact that they have this dead body in their house is such this wonderful thing. As you mentioned, they don't see it. I love how this movie unfolds so much. Talk about the structure of how the comedy kind of builds here for you.
I like how you mentioned, the first scene, you don't know what this is about because they're just getting their marriage license. Like, you think it's about her trying to convince him to maybe get married, stay married, whatever. And then he's like, oh, we'll go back to the house. And they're, you kind of get that eerie feeling that something's up because they're running across a graveyard for, like, they live across from each other in a graveyard, and they're like chasing each other. I don't know who chases each other in graveyards for fun, but okay, maybe you do. Maybe Chad, but
you never played graveyard tag?
No.
Okay, all right.
Oh, the graveyards in Canada are blocked off by a gate. You can't get in.
Oh, okay.
It's not like the random ones I'm seeing in the middle of the street here.
Yeah, we will pretty much bury anyone
Yeah, I
anywhere.
feel like Pittsburgh just has
Okay.
these random hillsides that are like graveyards
Yeah.
just sprinkled randomly around. Not like right in the city, but like outside of the city, there's just sprinklings of random graveyards here and there.
Hmm.
Yeah, that's not a Toronto thing.
Huh.
Opening hours and yeah, it's not the same. So it's probably not as fun. But anyway, I I like that it eases you into it, but you kind of get the sense that something is going to happen, but you don't know what. And then you see these two little old ladies and they seem pretty like chill, right? All of a sudden it kind of escalates. Like once Mortimer finds out what's going on, it's almost like you're Mortimer, you find out, and it's just like boom in your face. Then it becomes like a farce. Then it just becomes this like whole gag reel.
Oh, it does. And so much of this goes to Cary Grant reacting to things. He has a great sense of reacting to it. I think it's interesting. He didn't like his performance in this.
Yeah.
He's downplayed it, and we'll be like, oh, that movie. I mean, Frank Capra, the director, would like urge him to go big, 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 and he didn't agree with that, and he went along with it, thinking some of this could get edited out later. And uh, this movie is kind of getting towards the, I guess, World War II, and Frank Capra delays a little bit to get this movie finished up before leaving. But this movie doesn't really get the full out, wrapped up editing job that you would expect. And some of the stuff is just in the movie. So Cary Grant's very unhappy with it, even though this movie really runs pretty heavily on him reacting to things. He's running at a very high level of energy. I got this wonderful. I didn't see Cary Grant being able to do this. Katharine Hepburn really drives bringing up baby, and he like reacts to her. Here, his reactions are more of the main driver for the laughs that are coming through here. There are absurd situations or scary situations around him, and he's the sane person in all of this that you relate to, but he's tightly wound.
I mean, you have to go big. I think that was the right call. I understand his complaints of Capra calling everyone to go just huge on it, but I think he was trying to channel the spirit of the play. And for things like a Broadway play or whatever, you have to go bigger than what you would normally do in an acting scene because the audience isn't going to see a small facial expression or a small reaction. They need that bigger gesture and bigger reaction. I think he kept the energy and spirit really well for this.
This has Capra written all over it. I mean, when you think about the Frank Capra films, this is a very, they're all a little bit more over the top. It's an ensemble piece, right? There's all these big character actors, big names. It's not necessarily, it's not just Cary Grant, although he is the main character. There's everybody else around him that plays a very important role and is featured. And that is a very, Capra-esque thing.
I think so.
We covered It Happened One Night, and yeah, that was 34, I think. So a decade before this, and same thing, like big reactions, goofy scenarios. Really enjoyed that film. I actually got to cover that with my wife, and we both had a fun time.
Yeah, that's on episode 253. If you're listening to this now, I'm going to go back and check that out. I I'm really starting to like Frank Capra a whole lot. Obviously, It's a Wonderful Life is a hit. You got Arsenic and Old Lace. It Happened One Night. Mr. D Goes to Town. Mr. Smith Goes to Washington. I'm realizing I haven't seen everything in this catalog, and I'm due for a disappointment at this point. But the high points are remarkably high in his catalog. And
Have you seen Platinum Blonde?
no, I have not.
I think you would enjoy that.
Well, I would say these movies are either showing the range of being inspiring or just feeling really good and stirring up the good feelings of man. I read that some people felt like Capra was sappy and like or overly sentimental. As post-war sensibilities shifted, his heyday was in the 30s, where I guess he's winning awards and he's dominant. After the war, things get so much darker, and things shift away from what he's doing. I read that This movie was made pre-war, but it's not going to come out until 44. Now, reason for that is the play production had to leave Broadway before they would let it get released, which I can kind of understand in fairness. But it's a long wait from the time that they actually finish making the movie to the time where it's actually released. And in that, a whole lot happens culturally between, the late 30s and the mid 40s. And so the world kind of changed. And I had read that cinema had kind of changed, where this is kind of locked into an older way of movie making. Now, I am not as adept at picking up on these things. Michelle, you've watched way more classic film than I have. I don't know, how are these things feeling for you? Obviously, most of the stuff I've watched in the 40s, I like classic noir films. They go extremely dark with their German expressionist influences and stuff. This, I don't really necessarily know how the world of comedy shifted on them or not, but I don't know if you can fill in anything to me, because when I watch this, I go, to me, this is funny in any era. Um, I don't see that, like, too much time has gone by. 6 years of did it really make that big of a difference to how the world would have perceived this or not?
I mean, I do think it makes a difference. Experience and time makes a difference. I think that, when you look at film history, television history, a lot of it is a sign of the times. You can see when things were influenced, So if you're talking before America got involved in the war officially, their movies kind of shied away from it, and the reasoning was because that the government didn't want to be in the war at the time. Nobody wants to go to war, and a lot of officials went to the movie moguls and said, like, don't make movies about this stuff, don't make movies about what's going on in Europe, about the Germans, and very specifically about the Jews and what was happening to them in Nazi Germany, because if we get pushed into this war, we're going to blame you. Because this is your war. This is Europe's war. But then all of a sudden, when America joined the war effort, right, when they officially were in the war, movies changed. And suddenly a lot of films, the placement of these random gung-ho I'm American montages of soldiers and the flag blowing in the way, all this stuff happened because that was part of, now, okay, we're in the war, so now we're all about America, and stop bringing in the German films and so on and so forth. So the name of the game always changes. I think comedy is a little different because comedy is there for so many reasons. Comedy style changes. I don't think, The Office, that's a show that's I think it's pretty popular. I don't know if that would have been, well received in 44 the way that these sort of screwball comedies of the 30s and 40s were well received. I think that just standing there talking to the camera, that kind of cringe comedy, that's something that, Modern Family is another example. That's something that, right now is the thing. Screwball comedy is maybe not as much, but it has its place.
Now, Chad, I'm going to ask you, do you like Living with Teddy Roosevelt, or I should say a guy who thinks he's Teddy Roosevelt, and they're adding to the crazy old ants?
I think I like him as the driver for the institutionalized family members, and like getting the slips and getting the right signatures. And I think that's a good side plot. There are quite a few little side plots running throughout this movie that I really appreciate. Would I appreciate actually living with Teddy Roosevelt? Absolutely not. Like these sweet old ladies, I love the fact that they go over and brace the clock every time. And I love the fact that we mentioned World War II is going on. Like, it does get screened for the troops, and the troops are screaming charge as they very real risk of death. But this movie had some degree of comedy and impact on our troops, and that's just a great thing that they can have a little bit of fun with that spirit. Yeah, I'm totally with the neighbors. Like, do not play the bugle, and good on the police for constantly responding and saying, hey, knock it off. I wish the police were that responsive in my life.
I thought it was so funny. I mean, Teddy Roosevelt's such a big personality. Obviously, we don't I've not seen, you know, uh, him in real life or whatever, but this character that they make of him is so funny. I mean, the fact that
Bodie.
they get him to go dig the Panama Canal himself in the
Yeah.
basement, and it's this fun thing. He knows enough to think that he's Teddy Roosevelt, or that somebody is Taft. Like, I mean, there's these little references to, like, if you play by the rules, he just converses with you so, like, it's almost normal, and it's fun to watch the people who kind of egg him on instead of contest this reality. And it's funny to see these um, ants, using it to their ability to stash bodies in their basement. The thing sounds so morbid, but when you actually watch it play out, it's so funny.
I mean, the police are saluting him.
It's so much fun. And like, nobody told me about this. It's top secret from the president. Like,
Getting him to sign his real name, just the logic, whenever you stop and think about it, none of it makes any sense.
none at all.
What is Brewster without a B? Rooster. And what's a rooster do? It's like somehow backs into getting them to sign this. It's like, that's your code name. Okay, makes sense.
I really enjoyed this character, and it was one of those things that they just were able to dip back into it. I mentioned that they layer, they build up. Something will go wrong, but it will come back and influence something that happens a little bit later. You find a dead body. It's in the bench seat. They get a good yuck out of it, but they move off of it with the intention of, I'm gonna have Teddy put into a hospital and institutionalized, so I don't know what I'm going to do with my aunts at this point, but I mean, I think he's preparing to, I don't know, is he looking to turn them in? Is that like why his mission of, like, why is his, I didn't quite gather. I knew his mission was to get Teddy institutionalized, but what was his main motivator? He was moving so fast there in the beginning. I didn't actually
Teddy
catch
was the one that was killing them at first.
Oh, okay, so he thinks that that's the guy doing it. Okay, so he wants to put him away and protect his hands to some degree. So that makes sense. But then Jonathan rolls in. He has no clue that that's there. We, as the audience, know that that is there. And the close calls of it almost happening become a point of funny, like, oh my gosh, are they going to go over to the window seat? And they have a plan that's overlapping. We know Jonathan's plan, but we also know the ants or Mortimer don't know that plan. So there's these fun things of, as an audience member, what one party knows, but the other party doesn't know, and then vice versa. And that's what I meant by there's this wonderful weaving of these plot points, and it continues to build up. I thought it was like an I Love Lucy episode, like on steroids, magnified times.
Reminds me a lot of
like
Clue.
Yeah. I mean, you can have so much fun. Or Fish Called Wanda would be another one that we did,
Yeah.
where you can have so much fun, seeing who doesn't know what and what characters do with the information that they have, or how they react to something, and the misunderstandings that come in that. I'm coming to find that is something I really like in general. So this is why this is hitting me in the right spot for this. I'm going to ask you, Michelle, what are some of the things that made you laugh the hardest in this?
Obviously, Teddy. That was the number one for me. What really stuck out for me, because as I said, I forgot about Jonathan, right? So when he came on, and the fact that, they weren't supposed to say that he looked like Boris Karloff because it would, like, anger him, but they kept dancing around it. I thought that was really funny.
I got that Boris Karloff lookalike right away from him. Like, I honestly, I had to check, and I looked down, I was like, is this Boris Karloff? No, who's Raymond Massey? But on stage, it really was Boris Karloff who played Jonathan. And many of these characters in this are from the play, which I'm always a fan of, because these people do it every night, all night long, multiple times, and they know their characters and they're really good at it. And so I'm always a fan of when you bring somebody from the actual stage performance into the movie. And they do that here, but Karloff couldn't. They guarded him as like a selling piece for the play. They didn't want to lend him out to the movie. So he let them use his name in it. But I was debating. I thought Raymond Massey was really good, but I also wondered, is this going to be even more fun if that is the Boris Karloff, or is it kind of fun that, is it like in like the Blazing Saddles, like it's Hedley Lamar? Like, I mean, is it funny that it's not actually the guy and people keep thinking that it is Boris Karloff? Like, you know, I was going back and forth. I was like, is it actually funnier if it's not actually Boris Karloff and you look like Frankenstein's monster to them? I couldn't decide. Do you want Boris Karloff in here is what I'm going to ask.
Hey, I've trained you well. You nailed that. Russell said Frankenstein's monster after years of correcting him. So I very much appreciate it. I think it's funnier if it's Boris Karloff. I mean, it's just a funnier joke of they dance around it quite a bit. Oh, it looked like this one scary horror movie monster. They never actually say the title of Frankenstein, but they do say, hey, this scary film that we saw. I do appreciate that they had to pay kind of through the nose for the old ladies. But to your question, Russell, of like, what's the funniest thing for me? I think it's just the deadpan sweetness of the old ladies. Like, there's a dead body in the window seat. We know. Yes, dear. And it's just all matter of fact. And it's like, we killed him. And then they mention how many others, and there's the quiet debate of 11, no, 12. Are you counting that one? And how do we count this? And the fact that they're killing by like denomination, the fact that they say, oh, he was a Baptist and he was a good Methodist. I kind of wanted more denominations in here. Like, what do we have to say about the Presbyterians or Lutherans or Anglicans? Like, how are we getting through this? And just the absurdism of, you hear them singing hymns at one point when he's standing outside the house, and you know what's going on in there. It's, to me, that's what makes me laugh the hardest, is the old church ladies going through church routines in a really insane way.
I told you, Martin, don't worry about it. Now, what do you think's gotten into him? I know. He's getting married.
Mm-hmm.
That'll always make a man nervous. Like, you're right. They're so genuinely unaware why he would be upset.
They're helping. They are Dr. Kevorkians before his time.
And so they tried to get Karloff so hard in this one, they actually tried to lend out Humphrey Bogart in his place, which Bowie's not really a tall dude, so I don't know that works in terms of being imposing. But I mean, I guess name value would certainly get people in there, but they held true and they said, no, you can't have Karloff. So
Humphrey Bogart was very scary in some of his roles. You got to watch him Petrified Forest and The Roaring 20s. Like, he's very much like James Cagney. He can be really, really scary and also really, really nice.
Okay.
He does it well. But I think that Boris Karloff would have been much... I think just having him there would have been funnier. But Raymond Massey did a great job.
I thought he was great. Yeah. I thought this sidekick, who's a surgeon, to change your face as you're doing these things was a humorous gag. I also thought it was funny that if a guy messes your face up, I'm surprised that A, he didn't kill him, and B, he's going to give him another shot to work on his face again. And they were, planning this up. I kind of liked how Peter Lorre was just like, yes, but I was drunk, you see. I can't, it's not my best work.
That's a good impression.
I love Peter Lorre so much.
He, like you said, we're going down the cast pretty far, and they're still hitting it out of the park with these extremely memorable performances. Like you said, there's an ensemble nature of this. Yes, Cary Grant is running this thing. He's the engine that makes it go, but everybody here in it is adding so much to it. Even like the police investigator who kind of comes in at the end. Like, I mean, he's got this great, like, I'm confused. What the heck is going on here kind of mentality. I mean, there's all these wonderful layers with each person who walks into this house unsuspectingly, thinking they're just dealing with a simple noise complaint of a trumpet going up the stairs, walking into a murder den, in a huge cover-up scene unknowingly. And then I love the, wait, are there 12 bodies downstairs? Kind of like a,
And nobody actually checks.
checks. So I that is also brilliant. You're like, you kind of want them to get away with it at this point. Like the ladies are so sweet, to your point, like you don't want them to get caught. it's it's a strange place to like, they make you end up rooting for somebody you wouldn't think that you would at that point. I'm surprised at the time, from what I know of the Hays Code and where we are in it earlier in the spectrum, this seems pretty dark for the time. uh,
Yeah, it does.
Maybe Michelle, you can help us out here, but is this a big shakeup for a dark comedy at the time? To me, this seems out of character with what you're getting from 1944.
Did it get the seal of approval? I think it got the seal of approval. I mean, all the bad guys were caught at the end.
They did.
I mean, you're still not seeing, obviously a killing, dead bodies. You're not, it's all implied, right? And sometimes you could imply things. The Hays Code was hazy, I guess, in some ways. But and they didn't always follow it, by the way. If you follow the Hays Code, you get that special seal of approval. And that just means that it's okay for all the vulnerable women and children to go see this film, and they won't be, they won't be influenced into the bad ways.
Oh. So, Cary Grant, as I mentioned, wasn't pleased with his performance. Apparently, he was a discontented member on the set. So, he wanted to be in The Man Who Came to Dinner, and he was briefly casted Sheridan Williams in that film. However, the pressure of the theater film industry uh, and the public for Monty Woodley to be cast, that led Grant to be ousted from that role and left Warner Brothers with one of their most bankable stars with nothing to do. So they plugged him in here for Mortimer and Brewster. I don't think he was really happy about getting the role. He said in other interviews, this should have been Alan Joslin, which was the Broadway lead, or it should just be Jimmy Stewart. And I like Jimmy Stewart a lot, but he doesn't have, he goes pretty manic and fun, like in It's a Wonderful Life, but I don't see him being able to do this. I don't see him going this big for comedy purposes here. I don't want that.
I saw Bob Hope listed as an alternate casting, and I do think Bob Hope could absolutely do this. I think he'd be a lot of fun.
Bob Hope was offered the part, and he wanted to do it. You're right. Paramount said no because studios are weird. They own contracts on people, and they don't let people go do stuff. So, in another universe, they probably could have had Bob Hope doing this. But even though Cary Grant complained about things, whether it be sets, props, wardrobes, other cast members, and he wasn't having fun, it doesn't show. Even as I had read that, I go back and I look at it and I sit there and go, I don't see that. I don't know how you can conjure that up and go there if you're truly unhappy with it and at odds with the direction the director's giving you. But he's an actor, and he showed up and he did what they needed. And I'm gonna side with Capra on this one. Capra got what he needed and what he wanted, so, and I'm glad for that.
It does seem to be filmed weirdly. I know you'd put in our notes that it was filmed sequentially. Like, that's completely wild because we leave the house several times. We're out in the graveyard, like Michelle mentioned. There's like police stations. There are a couple different set pieces.
I've read that Sidney Lumet did this, like with Network, and probably 12 Angry Men as well. Now, those are both Lumet movies. This is not Lumet, but he believed if you do it in order, it can help the actors and stuff involved. I don't know if that's true or not because these things are made over a series of days. That's not typical of a movie. But to your point, I think Michelle mentioned this thing's made mostly on one set. So it doesn't involve like totally going somewhere else. This was one of the largest sets. I think this was the largest set that Warner Brothers had at that point in time. So it was an ambitious set piece for what they had at the time. I actually thought some of the stuff they did in the graveyard was really nice. Like the scaled down buildings were behind there. They layered behind the Brooklyn Bridge beyond. And I thought this was a prettier looking set for a set piece than it had to be, given how it's so dialogue driven. You mentioned, did it feel like a play? I thought this set maybe you get more benefits of being in it with a camera instead of sitting up in the balcony where I always have to sit. I don't ever get good seats whenever I go to the theater because they're extremely expensive. But I felt like this was so rich and immersive that this was one of those moments where I thought the house and the setting and the mood you get from all the lighting and stuff like that, I think that would be hard to reproduce in the film. Like you said, when it goes dark and creepy, I think that would be tougher to have that mood swing, not in film format. But I haven't seen the play, so you two can confirm or deny that.
I mean, I wouldn't put this as a all-time top Halloween film. Like Halloween is just kind of a weird backdrop in this movie. You get that very strange scene where the kids are there's like a candy frenzy through their kitchen window.
Yeah.
That's odd. I don't know if in the 40s we're banging on people's kitchen windows instead of the front door.
I guess that's just the neighborhood people know them, I don't know.
Yes, yeah, everybody knows them.
Michelle, what do you think? I mean, do you feel like the tone of this movie is different in play format than in movie format with how you're like experiencing it?
Well, Chad, where did you saw this at community theater or?
Yeah, I hadn't seen like a Broadway play of this,
Yeah.
but yeah, there was a local community theater that did it.
Was that the Charleston Light Opera Guild in
Mhm.
Charleston, West Virginia?
There were two of them. I'm not sure if it was the Light Opera Guild or if it was the other that I can never remember. There was a group of adults that tended to do like not the Dan Ketty type productions. But yeah, one of the two in Charleston.
Yeah. And I'll say we lived in a town of 50,000 people. So this is like when you say local, I mean, you might know somebody in the play, quite likely, to
Cool.
be honest with you.
I was in several of them.
So
That's cool.
but on the other hand, I always was amazed that our little town sometimes had some people who could really sing, and there were some people who were like impressively talented at times. So no, they're not Broadway people. No, they're not the biggest market in the world.
Yeah.
But I would say you can have a good time at your local theater, even if you don't live in a major metropolitan like Atlanta or Pittsburgh. I've had a good time seeing local performances and smaller places. Like we always go to the Poconos and stuff like that. There was a place before it burned down. Tragically, we would go to the Pocono Playhouse. And in its heyday, the Poconos was a real place where people would go honeymoon, and like big name entertainment from New York would want to go get some cooler mountain air and stuff like that. So a lot of these places had actual Broadway performers go out there, and the walls were littered with, stars of the past. And that was a long bygone era. The talent wasn't necessarily coming specifically to the Pocono Playhouse anymore, but I still had fun seeing these lower level performances of people who wanted to build their resumes to get in there. They were up and coming, or maybe they were fading off or something like that and holding on to the dream. Either way, it was like the minor leagues of plays. It didn't matter that you weren't seeing the top talent in some cases, particularly with a comedy. And some of these would really, really go well. I cried when that thing burned down. It was so sad. It was one of those things where it was, it didn't get rebuilt, and that little piece of that little cultural thing that had all these wonderful little mid-century relics and stuff was gone, and I was sad for that. I wish, honestly, when I saw this movie and saw that it was a play, I wish I could have seen it there, like not necessarily in the Broadway like level, because it's not a musical. You don't have to sing as well, so I think this could do well on the local stage.
Well, I liked it doing it, when you're doing something either, that local level or high school, there's certain things you can and can't do because you just maybe don't have the budget or the manpower or the space for it. You're doing it in your high school auditorium most of the times, right? Which is what we did. As Russell pointed out way back when.
Yes.
So, I don't know if I can remember that well. But no, there are parts of it that I actually have trouble remembering. But from what I do remember when we did it, I mean, I don't remember like any type of, obviously we had the living room set, which was the main stage. And then anything that happened outside, we kind of had to do it in the audience, like in the aisle type of thing. And then we did have a balcony where people could watch the basketball games, and sometimes they would utilize that for certain scenes. Mm-hmm. Maybe that was for Elaine's house. I can't remember, just kind of like to give that separate feeling. But Yeah, because we built this. I remember they built the set because they broke it. You know how Cary Grant chases the old guy out
Yeah.
before he drinks the wine. So I remember because the opening night, the guy who played Cary Grant's role broke the door because he threw me out, and I go flying down the stairs, and then he slammed the door and he broke it. So the next night we had to throw me, and then he had to be weird and sort of slowly close it because he had broken it. And I remember, I think they built the fake steps to nowhere as if it was going upstairs or downstairs. Like for a high school production, I think we did pretty well, but it wasn't creepy. It was more comical, funny for us. But again, it was a bunch of like grade 9 to 12s, you know?
It's so much fun. I sometimes feel like I missed out on some of these things in high school drama and stuff. So
High school plays are the best. Everybody should, if you have any younger listeners, you should all be trying out for those. Those are just fun.
They are, yeah.
this one looked like despite what I said about Cary Grant not being happy, it sounded like this was a fun set to be part of. Capra said this was the most fun he had had doing a movie since he did It Happened One Night in 1934. So it sounded like the humor and activity and energy there was carrying over, at least for him. And not to go from high note to down note, Capra said that he actually related to Mortimer. He himself was abused as a child by his brother, who grew up to be a criminal like Jonathan. So, and his his mother's great talents. One of them was making elderberry wine. So this just connected for him in all kinds of levels. So he was enjoying of all of this. So, Cary Grant wanted to stop some of these things and do reshoots, but with Capra, as I mentioned, he delayed a little bit to finish the film off before going to war, as it was anyway, and so none of those things were changed. I'm going to ask you this, Michelle: would you want to go back and dial it down? Would you want Cary Grant to get his way and to dial it back?
I think if you dialed it back, I don't think it would be. I think the tone of it, everybody else is so out there. You can't have him dialed back. I do see what he's saying in certain scenes where, again, it shows like a play where the ants are telling him about this, that they're killing people and la-di-da, and then they walk off to the kitchen, and then he turns back to the camera and just has this like, what the F look on his face, right?
Yeah.
That is like what you would see on stage, where they would just like kind of look off like, huh?
Yeah.
But I think if you dialed it back, it wouldn't match the tone of everybody else.
You brought up The Office. That's a very Jim from The Office type thing.
Yeah. That works for me. A look can say so much of, looking to you, like you said, I get a very theatrical play element from there. And I think we're still in the 30s when this is being made. I still think there's a little bit of that conversion of old theater to early film that's still hanging in there that might be gone by the 40s. That might be why they said this is the last of an era, as there's a big change going forward. And then in the graveyard, you mentioned the graveyard, there's a gravestone on there that has Archie Leach on there. And Archie Leach is actually Cary Grant's actual real name. So that's a fun little thing that they stuck in there. And we had covered this before. I didn't really make connections. But when we covered A Fish Called Wanda recently, maybe last year, his character's name is Archie Leach in that film. And he was a big Cary Grant fan. And John Cleese was saying that he was channeling his Cary Grant within his role. And we had just said, like, the misdirection and who knows what. I got to thank this movie in particular, given that he's a Cary Grant fan and he's my guess is he's probably a really big fan of this movie in particular. This movie probably inspired the Monty Python crew and with John Cleese and his sensibilities, given that he's making such a strong ode to him in his writing later on. I think a younger Cleese would have also done the Mortimer role really well.
Oh yeah, I mean, nobody has big reactions like the Monty Python crew.
Yeah. What do we think here about the music of this one?
I like getting the notes of Be It Ever So Humble, There's No Place Like Home. After we've found out very horrific things, they start playing that. I thought that was rather clever, but it sounds like you're wanting full out slide trombones. Wow.
I don't know if this is a one-to-one, like what you get in the play is what you bring to the film, but I kind of wanted them. This movie's funny. I wanted them to lay it on a little bit thicker. I'm not saying, you know, um,
Okay.
go too goofy with it. It doesn't have to go like full tilt like Young Frankenstein, but you know, we're aware that we're at Halloween time, but it's also funny. So, um, I was willing to go a little bit more towards the whimsical side of things, if with it. And then, what do you say we hand out some superlatives, you guys? All right, Michelle, who is your MVP of Arsenic and Old Lace?
I'm gonna go with John Alexander, who played Teddy, because he was the one that really kept me laughing. It was his little, one-liners
Bully.
or nods to actual history and stuff like the canal and Taft and everything. I just thought that was really funny, so I'm giving it to him.
I really enjoyed him on this one too. Another one of yellow fever. Oh, wait. I like that he doesn't have the sense to cover up because he believes all of this is real. When the police comes, he can't keep his mouth shut. Like this is all like but he's also crazy.
Yeah.
So
Unreliable narrator, absolutely.
yeah, like he's saying accurate information, but because he's like not a reliable source, that's terrific. So, all right, Chad, who's your MVP?
Jean Adair and Josephine Hall, who are our aunts, and I think there's a good reason Capra had to pay $25,000 for each of them. They're worth it.
They were terrific. One of them had nursed Archie Leach, Cary Grant.
Jean Adair,
Yeah, when he was younger. So it was a reuniting of the two of them. That's a fun story. So my MVP, I probably broadcast this one. Cary Grant, man, this there's sometimes when you can just be a comedic engine like this, my hat goes off to you. You can't miss this casting up. Like you don't have a good presentation if you don't get the right jittery, high-strung, fast-paced, fast-worded guy. My head could think of other people I would enjoy doing this, but I can't honestly sit there and say that anybody would have done it better. And even though he wanted to recast himself, I don't know what he expects for his own career because this is high stuff, high marks for me. So, Cary Grant, you're dead and you don't care about this, but I think this is a standout performance.
Man, this is like you saying Alec Guinness, hey, Obi-Wan Kenobi was your best role. Alec Guinness is like, never talk about Star Wars again.
Yeah, he's got a pretty awesome catalog of work that we're discovering here as well. So, well, best supporting actor.
I'm going to go with Raymond Massey. I was very impressed. I like you, I knew it wasn't Boris Karloff, but I do remember when I first saw the movie, I remember thinking that might be Boris Karloff and I had to look it up.
Yeah.
But forgetting about Jonathan and seeing him on screen and then he came on, I had no clue that was Raymond Massey. I was blown away because I know him from East of Eden. He played James Dean's father. It's from 1955. It's a Kazan film. And he played this Bible beater, straight-laced dad and a very tough guy, but like strict. So to see him there, I was actually really surprised at his range. I didn't realize that, he could go in those directions and do this kind of comedy, but also scary. So he's my best supporting actor.
That shadow of his face looming over Peter Lorre was very menacing. But you're right. You called me Boris Karloff, like I'm gonna get you. Like that was such a good. You're right. He does the perfect match. His large size helps a lot as well. His makeup took 4 hours to do, 2 hours to get on, 2 hours to get off each day for that one, but well worth it. I liked his makeup on that one for sure. Best supporting, Chad.
Peter Lorre. I mean, any film that Peter Lorre is in, he is my answer for best supporting actor. I love him. I've watched his entire catalog. He's just incredible.
Oh, yeah, he's outstanding. It's late. Can we not? I don't want to.
I love him so much with Vincent Price. He has like 5 or 6 movies with Vincent.
I love that he's about to leave at the end. He opens the door to like make a clean getaway. They call him back into the room to sign something as a doctor.
Yes.
Yeah.
And then he gets caught. I love it so much. I had a hard time with this one because the supporting cast is great. I was going between Peter Lorre and John Alexander for Teddy Brewster, I should say. Chad,
Both correct.
Yeah, I was going to say, Chad, you went with Peter Lorre. I'll just pick John Alexander on this one, but they're both outstanding. They're really great. Hidden gem, Michelle.
Hidden gem for me is in the first scene when they are getting their marriage license. There's these 2 reporters. One of them is played by the wonderful character actor Charles Lane. He's a big hero of mine. He's what I would want to be on film. He's been in over 100 movies and television shows. In It's a Wonderful Life, you know, when he's meeting with Potter and he's like, one of these days, this bright young man is going to be asking George Bailey for a job. So that's him. So he shows up in everything, everywhere. And I actually have his autograph. And he's passed away now. But he would be my hidden gem. Every time I see something and he shows up, I get excited.
Oh, wow. Yeah, that is great. You rule at these hidden gems, by the way. Chad, top that.
No, I can't. Like, I should have gone first. Michelle is just shaming me. You know what? I like Gary Owen as the cabbie. It's just that little side plot and the guy's growing outrage. It really does. We talked about the Python crew. It reminds me of revisiting the historian in that crime scene in Holy Grail. Like, I forget the cabbie's a thing. And then we just have this little snippet scene of him being like, you've now bought the cab. And then we revisit later, you have purchased 2 cabs. And then he's arguing with the police, trying to get them to do something about this unpaid fare. He calls a cab for the guy at one point as the cabbie. I loved him.
Yeah, he was great. I was a strong consideration for me. I almost went with art director Max Parker on the set design on this one because it really rules. But I got to go with, I love the bad policeman. Both O'Hare as Jack Carson. He's outstanding. But I also got to give a little bit of love to Mr. Witherspoon as well. So, yeah. O'Hare giving these play like narrations with great enthusiasm while Mortimer has no interest in hearing them.
It's so terrible, too.
Yeah, and he's so excited about it. And I love that he even calls out, like, and they're always really bad. Like, the murder is not visible. And these things are happening to Mortimer. But then later, you're thinking, like, that's a little on the nose. But what's brilliant is later O'Hare's, like, pitching his play, and he's doing that same thing to him while he's tied up and in need of help. That's why it's such a great setup. Again, it layers that joke so well. So... recast. Michelle, if you had to recast somebody and put somebody else in their place, who's it going to be?
I don't really want to recast anybody, but for the sake of the question, I actually wouldn't mind seeing Jimmy Stewart in the roles. I think he could do it.
Huh.
I think, especially with Capra directing it and bringing it out of him, I think he could do it. But although I really thought Raymond Massey was great, it would be interesting to see what Boris Karloff would have done playing somebody who's not supposed to be Boris Karloff.
Well, he wanted to do it, so that would have been fun. Yeah. Chad, how about you? Who's your recast?
You were just praising O'Hara, and I really like Jack Carson in that role. He's hilarious. But you know what? I want this to fully lean into the comedy, so I want Lou Costello.
Well, that's comedy gold for sure. Yeah, he would be great. Would you bring Bud Abbott in there as well somewhere? Like, would he be Witherspoon for you?
I don't think I need Witherspoon to be that gaunt facial expression. So I don't know. Maybe they could be the 2 bumbling cops in the beginning rather than Witherspoon. But I kind of like the Costello as O'Hare reciting this play to him.
They have good bad cops in this. I mean, like they're up there, like they're up there for the super bad cops for really good bad policemen. if I had to recast somebody and put somebody in their place, I'm going for Priscilla Lane as Elaine. She does leave for too long. Like, she's a big part in the first part of it, but she's gone for a long time before coming back. That is one little, I want her to attempt to re-inject herself into things a little sooner. I loved when she walked in the house and Mortimer wasn't there. You get a little scared for her at that point. I want her to cause a little bit more mayhem by prying and not, unknowingly being there, about to uncover something, and Mortimer doesn't like that. And who's better at these misdirections? I called it out as a Lucy episode. I want Lucille Ball in here in the role, and I'm putting Lucille Ball in for Elaine. I think it would be great, and she could take this and go even farther with it.
She does co-star with Cary Grant in a couple of movies, so yeah.
Have you seen any Priscilla Lane films besides this one?
No.
Okay, so this doesn't do her justice. She is fantastic.
Okay.
Go watch Roaring Twenties. That one is with James Cagney and Humphrey Bogart. And also she was with Claude Rains and some of her real life sisters in the movie Four Daughters. And then they also did Four Wives and Four Mothers as like sequels. She is very, very talented. I do agree she's like gone for too long, but that's also where sometimes when I'm watching these plays on film, I'm like, oh, it's a play. Like, it's just that is something you might see in the theater, like, and you might not notice it as much. So that for sure, like, made sense to me in that way. But she's awesome though.
Just her forgetting something in the house, like when she storms off mad and then comes back over like, and another thing that I had to tell you, like, just just a little re-injection of like, that would be great. So let's go with best shot, Michelle.
Best shot. I liked you mentioned it earlier, where the shadows with Jonathan's face over Einstein on the stairs. I thought that was really great. They like with the silhouette of the monster of Frankenstein.
Yes. Chad, how about you? What's your best shot?
Another stairwell shot. This is, Russell's going to boo the smoking part, but Mortimer sets up on the staircase and is smoking while there's an all-out like fracas in front of him. We don't see the melee, but you can see the shadows on the background behind the staircase. There's like chairs and things going. It's all very funny.
Yes. My best shot. This doesn't even fit in this movie. But there's like a black shot, and there's this light in the basement door that opens up like, and I mean, I'm thinking I'm watching a horror movie for a minute there. Like you said, Chad, like this is one of those moments where it's like, I didn't expect to get that in here, but it's also good. I like, we're at Halloween. There's dead bodies piling up. We have a murder in the house, adding a little sense of danger. I think it's fun. I think it's the balance is right, and this shot was better than it had any business being in this movie. Best scene, Michelle.
I liked when they tied him up at the end, and they were maybe going to drink the wine, and they were trying to kill him, and then Einstein needed a drink. I thought that was the best scene.
And then Teddy with a bugle.
Yeah. Anything with Teddy was also up there. Just any moment where he was just there doing something.
Chad, how about you? What's your best scene?
It's right before that. I really liked when Mortimer's describing to Einstein this ridiculous play about a guy who doesn't notice the murderer behind him. And you know what he does? He uses the curtain cord to tie him up, and you see Jonathan get these ideas, and he looks over at the curtain and starts cutting it with a knife. All this time Einstein's like, oh really? And it's all of that is just so fun.
What happens next?
Yes.
So no, you're right. My best scene is early. It's the turning point. It's when there's a dead body in the window seat, and Mortimer finds it, and he confronts his aunt about it, and she's like, "Yes, I know." And like, it's just all those reasons you gave the aunts the MVP. Chad was just, this was in full swing. This is this is one of the most rewarding turning points I've seen this year of like, this movie's going to be great. And I love where it went from right there. Best wardrobe or makeup moment, Michelle?
Well, I'm gonna go with Jonathan, obviously.
It's great makeup work. I really like it.
I really didn't know it was him. Like, they did a great job. And then the costume for Teddy also, like, spot on.
Chad, how about you? Best wardrobe or makeup moment?
I went Raymond Massey as well. I mean, the fact that he fooled you enough to look up, is that Boris Karloff? That's fantastic.
I wrote that as well, but I'm going to be different here than you guys and just say the hat collection. I love that they pick up this hat on the floor.
That shot. Yes.
And then they go over to the cabinet and they've kept all these hats in good shape in a closet of all of their victims.
I meant to go back and count because I feel like there's more than 12 hats in that cabinet.
Is it 11 or is it 12?
Consult the hat cabinet. Yeah.
Change one thing, Michelle.
I would, I don't like that, like, Elaine almost got killed and then she's just yelling at him. It's like, you don't care about me, but, and then walks away. I would have called if I were her, I would have called, maybe not the cops, because those cops clearly don't know what's going on and don't care, but at least go to your dad, who we don't see again, like the priest, like, go get help. Like, don't go back in the house, go get help. That I would change.
All right. Yeah. Chad, how about you? Change one thing.
I kind of thought the third act started to drag a little bit. And what I noticed is it's because the ants are missing. You don't have them in 20, 25 minutes. Yep. And so give them something else to do. Maybe another failed poisoning attempt. Maybe you see them dragging a body in the background. I want them to appear.
Adding an extra body in the mix while the police are coming into it. That's pretty good. That's a little bit Marx Brothers like we're like.
Yeah, you can have like the kitchen door type scenes where people are just missing each other.
Oh, I love that idea. I don't think that's this movie's. It would be hard to do on stage, but it would be gold. I would really like that. That's a great suggestion. I like that better than mine. I in general would not give Cary Grant his way and tone things down, but there's one moment for my change one thing that I am going to let him tone it down a little bit. When he goes a little bit crazy and goes up the stairs and says like, I've got 50 people up in the attic. And they're looking at him like he's going to get hauled off to the loony bin himself. And I was really worried that it's going that direction where, oh no, Mortimer's going to get put in there. Jonathan's going to get away. This isn't the ending I want. He came too dangerously close to being read as crazy himself. And he needs to be funny, but I think he went past funny into crazy. And I might have done a reshoot of that one.
That's fair. I felt like he was accepting his inevitable descent because he just thought, hey, it runs in my family. I'm doomed. Might as well lean into it. But yeah, I get where you're coming from.
I think I'd like to see him use his smarts and to manipulate one guy, say another thing to another person. And just like they got Teddy to sign the document and it was just baloney, I wanted to see him work his way out of this mess, And again, had like Lucille Ball been there, like Priscilla Lane, maybe she catches on at some point and she helps him get out of it at that point. Like there's some layering of like, maybe it's okay if, like I said, maybe she can help him get out of this mess here at the end. So there's a chance to make this big culmination, which is awesome and rewarding, even better. And like you said, Chad, the old ants trying to hide another body, like continuing their efforts in the midst of all the investigation would be gold. So best quote, Michelle.
When they're talking about Spinalzo and his aunt, she's like, I knew it was a foreigner.
Yeah. How about you, Chad? What's your best quote?
I've already used this one this week after watching the movie. Insanity runs in my family. It practically gallops.
That is good. You mentioned earlier the son of a, what was it? Son of a
sea cook.
Sea cook, yeah.
Yeah. In the play, I'm the son of a bastard. and he's happy about it, or I'm a bastard. That gets a big laugh on stage. The Sea Cook line, it didn't work for me as much because I was sitting there going like, that's an odd quote, and then I read it later. I'm like, you get a total excuse from me because they can't say it, and I wish they could because I want the play version on that one, on that delivery right there. It's hard to censor yourself on that one. So, boo on censorship on that one.
Yep, that's the Hays Code.
I like the alliteration, son of a sea cook.
My best quote, I mentioned it earlier in my favorite scene of, it's Mortimer going, look, you can't do things like that. Now that I don't know how I can explain this to you, but it's not only against the law, it's wrong. Oh, piffle. And it's not a nice thing to do. People wouldn't understand. He wouldn't understand. What I mean is, this is developing into a very bad habit.
Yes.
I love this wonderful understatement of disbelief. It's just so great. Made me so happy. This was a hard one to pick a best quote in. I definitely loved it when Elaine said, but Mortimer, you're going to love me for my mind too. And he goes, one thing at a time.
You're very good at these impressions.
Don't encourage him.
He's good. He's actually good. Like, the Einstein one is like on point.
Yeah, Peter Lorre's. Didn't know you had that one in you.
Well, we have come full circle, and I want to see how many stars you have to give Arsenic and Old Lace from 1944. Michelle.
I'm going to give it a 4.5. It is wonderful, and I love it. It's not the funniest thing I've ever seen, but it is definitely up there. And it's a Capra film, so you know you're going to have a good time.
Only one film can be the funniest film you've ever seen. So,
yeah.
Chad, how about you? What are you giving this movie on a scale of 5 stars with half-star intervals?
That was profound, Russ. I went 4.5 as well. Like I said, the third act dragged for me, and I think it's somewhat due to the movie's length, but it's also due to the absence of my favorite characters. And so I had a great time with this. It needs to either be shorter, involve the ants a little bit more, just to push it to 5, but I had a great time talking about it.
All right. And I'm going to go there.
Yep.
I'm
telegraphed.
Yeah, if you didn't know it already, I love this movie. It's guaranteed. I haven't actually taken the time to go add it to my top 100, 200, or whatever comedies list. This one belongs in my top 100 comedies movies list for sure. I loved it. I will be recommending it. I will be saying you should watch this movie. Chad will be sad, but I will add this on the, sometimes you're watching scary movies at Halloween time, but there's some people who just don't want to be scared, and you want to have these fun Halloween movies to pull out. This is right up there with Abbott and Costello Meet Frankenstein, and this is now really high on my list of movies. Let's watch this for people who don't want to be scared at Halloween time list. Chad doesn't like those people. I'm sorry.
I'm on the fence. Manny will not watch scary movies with me, so he'll sit with you and watch Arsenic and Old Lace while I would sit with Chad and we'd watch like Texas.
We're gonna dip your toes into the water, and by the end you're gonna be like chugging the Saw movies.
You know what? I don't like the Saw. I saw it. But the older ones I like. Those old, even from the 70s. Like my favorite though is Cary.
Okay,
good one. That's a good choice.
That's intense.
I like it. I do like to be scared, but not like grossed out. Although the Texas Chainsaw Massacre is disgusting.
Yes.
Yeah, that one's so uncomfortable.
That's my one exception. Is that movie?
Well, I had a blast on this one. Thank you so much. Thank you, Michelle, for bringing this to us. This was a delight. So.
Oh, I'm glad that you liked it.
And Chad, thank you for guiding me. Yeah, thank you for guiding me to this. The shortlist looked super promising in general. I was just like, I love all the things on here, and you're like, this one.
When you told me, because I sent you the list and you chose really fast, and you're like, oh, it's Chad. Like, oh yeah, no, that makes sense. No, because then I saw what I wrote, and I'm like, oh yeah, Arsenic and Old Lace. Yeah, he'll choose that.
Yeah, Chad texts back really well, which I always appreciate that about him. And always like he'd like text back. I'm like, oh yeah, that's cool. Like, and but he knew something, and he knows me well. So thank you, Chad.
It was pretty much, why are you planting your flag in this one? I'm like, no, we're doing this. I don't think I gave any other background. I think I just said we're doing this.
Well, great choice. Can you help me make a great choice for next week, though, Chad? What are we going to do next week?
Well, Russell, summer is here, and we have big action and big thrills. For next week, our 3 movies to select from are option number 1, The Last Boy Scout from 1991. Private detective's protected female witness is murdered, prompting him and the victim's boyfriend to investigate the crime that leads to a corrupt politician and a crooked football team owner. Jerry Jones, is that you? Option 2, Bad Boys from 1995. 2 hip detectives protect a witness to a murder while investigating a case of stolen heroin from the evidence storage room from their police precinct. Or option 3, Con Air from 1997. Former U.S. Army Ranger Cameron Poe has just been paroled for manslaughter, but must stop a group of violent and deadly criminals from escaping the country after they seize control of the prison transport plane he is on. What will it
You've
be?
unknowingly given me like the Hot Fuzz short list, because at one point in Hot Fuzz, Nick Frost says, which one do you want to watch? Bad Boys 2 or Con Air? And he's like, are you asking me which one I'm going to watch? He goes, no, which one are you going to watch first? Because we're watching them both. So that was actually Bad Boys 2, though. So we'll go with the one that wasn't Hot Fuzz with Con Air. So there you go. You'll get your
You
Nicolas
have
Cage
ended
fix.
the Brian Fry.
Yeah.
Somewhere Brian Fry is like, no!
All right. Michelle, thank you so much. This was so much fun.
Thank you.
Oh, no, thank you very much. I had a great time. I always have a great time.
Thank you, all the lords, ladies, and knights of the Retro Movie Roundtable. We invite you to reach out to us. We want to hear from you. So subscribe, rate, and review us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, wherever you get your podcast. Subscribe to our YouTube channel. Give us a like on Facebook. Follow us on Instagram and Twitter at @movie_retro. Email us at retromovieroundtable@yahoo.com. And producing and providing this podcast is fun, but not free. So we invite you to support our show at our Patreon page at www.patreon.com/Retro Movie Roundtable. All contributions are much appreciated and will go towards making the show better for you, the listeners. As always, thank you for listening. Be good to each other and watch more movies. Chat.
I'm afraid, madame, he has made his final journey toward that Stygian shore. What? He's dead.